Barack Obama on Lettermen, 2004. I was just seeing that. And he's got a book out in 2004, The Dreams of My Father. And he speaks about that, his family. And very interesting about Barack Obama to me. There in 2004, he had just been elected to the U.S. Senate. He wasn't in that before. However, he was political in Indiana for sure, or Illinois, or wherever the hell he was. I think Illinois. I know he was out of Chicago. In 2001, they showed this guy after boom, the fucking shit hit the fan in New York City, you know, and he came on and he was talking about it. And I said, who the fuck is this guy? I'd never seen him in my life. Never seen him in my life. And of course, I was lying down, dying, sick, dead. At that point, I was back helping my brother build his house, and it was one of those instances where I get a deathly illness, and I'm just knocked out and just lying there for days on end. And the space shuttle explodes on TV in front of you, and planes are hitting buildings in front of you live, and it's like, wouldn't it be odd to think, you know how we go into a feverish delirium? What if my feverish deliria become your realities? That's kind of a mind-blowing experience, isn't it? It's like dreaming of somebody, and in the dream, they're coming out of a building in early morning light. You're coming in, they're coming out. They're done with what they're doing for the night, and you're going in there to do something all day long. And you see them and say, and in the dream, you say, I dreamed of you last night as you pass. And he and you, being not people who normally talk too much to each other, makes it very professional. And he looks and says, oh, I'm dreaming you now. How's that for a fucking dream? Could it be? Is that what you wake up to? So to say all these terrible incidences that I was sick and dying dead like I do every several years, it's amazing anybody else has survived this thing. I see this stuff and I see Barack Obama, this guy I'd never seen before. And he's talking about the 9/11 thing. And I looked and I said, so this is what becomes your reality. This is the part I'm getting to. But we're going to go beyond that to Booker T. Washington in a minute. And so this is the place where you're looking at the guy and I'm saying, I never saw anything. I've never seen him before in my life. And I'm watching him talk, and I'm watching his demeanor. It is so funny. We forget that politicians used to have a demeanor Now they're the guy next door that's killing fucking squirrels with the fucking ads. Just for fun. I just gotta know if I can catch him still. Still got it. And I looked at him as he's talking about this thing, and I'm like, this guy who I've never seen before. This is all part of it. He's on the track to something. And just so you know, not into conspiracy theories too much. They've ruined the meaning of a conspiracy theory with what these fucking knuckle fuckers are doing. But a conspiracy, a theory, what I knew, I said, not that he's stepping his way up the ranks. I said, they're putting him in there. This is part of a fucking plan. I said, oh. And then I see this thing in 2004 and 2008. He was president. Everybody remembers 2008 being so terrible for the year that everything crashed. But he wasn't even fucking president yet that year that our fucking construction business fell down. It was the guy before him. The first one that I know of that stole an election. He's talking. I'm saying, this fucker's doing something. And they're in 2004. I think she's saying she binaries me. Momentito. Don't forget, we're talking about Barack Obama. So don't get in the shower and scream. So there he is. He's on track to be part of the system. That's the way it looks. And so I see this. I'm going to start talking faster. People think I look crazy when I talk fast, but if I try to get my point across too much by talking more slowly so people can fucking think about it, it pretty much, it validates their thoughts of my insanity. Not to say that I'm insane. I feel pretty clean. There's a robin in the yard. It's October 19th, and it's already sleeting in the last couple days. Just wanted to bring that up. There's a robin in the yard. Is this the year the robin decides not to fly south? Because it's got its own way of doing things, and it knows it's, oh my God, there's a yard full of them. Oh. And it dies in the winter in Michigan. Look at that. They're all over out there. No. I don't normally see them gather like this, but they look like they're getting ready to do something. Either they're moving into the house or they're heading south. And then at some point, they bring up the fact that Barak is the first African American, what they would call, and he truly is, I say an American African, because he's from here. His heritage is in Africa, but he's the first blackish man to be a U.S. senator. No, he's not. He's the only one right now in 2004. But then Dave asks him, he says, well, how many others have there been? And there it is. There it is. Oh. This man says, 5. He said, how many have there been? He said 5, and he said 2 were appointed by the Union after the Civil War. And he said, then 3 others since. So it's, geez, oh man, that was a very small amount. This guy really brought something in. It made me think of the book I read, because him, when he kind of coughed like that, nobody would, they might notice, but they wouldn't make the connection. He didn't want to talk about that part of it. And that's why when I came across the book somewhere, it's called 3 Negro Classics Up from Slavery. And it was a compilation of 3 authors, one of them being Booker T. Washington, one of them being somebody Johnson, and another being another guy. And they were all fantastic stories. And it's interesting the way when you are not allowed to sell a book in a bookstore, there's a law. You have to rip the, you can't just sell it after the cover's been ripped off. I got it out of a library dumpster when they were throwing everything away. It wasn't in the dumpster yet, but it was going in the dumpster. I got it in Gaylord, Michigan. They had to dump a bunch of books that nobody read. And they said, when I got there, they said, everything, we're closing in a half hour. Anything you want, take it. And I was just like, and there were books. I got books from that. I couldn't stand the idea. Oh my God, it's a tragic thing to just throw a book in a dumpster. You know, you're not taking away somebody else's idea when you throw a book in a dumpster. You're taking away an idea that you could come up with on your own based on that fucking guy's book that's getting thrown in the dumpster. A book is a fucking important thing. Words. The words are the power, and the words are the magic. And what else do you want me to say? Yeah. But it was called 3 Negro Classics, and I got kicked out of a damn casino once because of that book. But I should have known better than to talk about it with people I thought could understand. One of the stories, the only reason I know Booker T. Washington's name for certain and the other guy Johnson, and I don't remember is because Booker T. Washington is a name we hear growing up. That's what caught my attention anyway. Booker T. Washington. And so it's a book that was published in like either the 30s, I think it was published in the 50s, this compilation. And it's got stories of people that grew up from the times of the Civil War and after the Civil War. And Booker T. Washington speaks of being, you know, he grew up in slavery until he was like 5 and it was done. And then at 10 years old, he was working in coal mines, and some of the community, for some reason, decided they wanted to put some money together and help. and get him to go to the Tuskegee experiment in Alabama, where they were going to educate black boys. And he showed up, and he had only one set of clothes, and he was an outsider the whole time. Evidently, this is a guess. The other kids that were there probably came from people who lived inside the house. He didn't fit in, but he had a hard start, if I remember right, and then he excelled. And he ended up speaking in I believe Congress House, something like that, one of those political things. But it was in there that he talked about, and it made me realize when people say, hey, governor, it's not a good thing for somebody to call you as a common person, because when Barack Obama mentions there were two that were appointed by two senators, U.S. senators that were appointed by the Union government, it also mentioned there were governors put in place. This is a sad, sad thing, but this is something I have thought about. Right now, Herschel Walker, even without concussions, he probably wouldn't have been much brighter. I've never had a concussion affect my mentality. I've been having them my whole life. But all of these damn people on his side, they're like, it's okay. He's had concussions, and he's not too bright, and shit like that. It's like, but you're supporting him to be, what does that tell us right now? What they are doing, and all apologies, Herschel Walker, not against your race, your being, your anything. What saddens me is that they are possibly using your idea, the idea of you just being a black man, that other black men will follow. They don't think of you anything more than that. They don't care if you've got a brain in your head to do the job. They just are using you as a governor. Sure, you'd be in Senate, but these people they appointed as governors, with the problem with that is at that time there was no understanding from this culture of really how that culture was working. They were just throwing them in the pit to make them look bad. You do what you can, but there Booker T. Washington went and he got educated, and he needs to be remembered. He needs to be remembered. Just Barack Obama on David Lettermen, reminding us of how indifferent time is. It can just come and go and pop back in any time it wants. And if it's the same time as it was in the 1860s and 70s, well, then things don't have much hope, do they?